Ever feel like, I don't know, the future's kind of like breathing down your neck?
I'd say that's a fairly accurate description of, well, existence in 2024, right?
Right.
What's got you feeling that way specifically?
Well, today, it's all about product management, which everyone's saying is like the road to the future. But get this, even AIs want in on the action.
Okay, color me intrigued. You gonna tell me Siri's got a side hustle designing apps now?
Pretty much. We are diving into a podcast called PM 101 Explore Product Management. But here's the kicker. The hosts. They're AI personalities. Rick and Summer, actually.
Hold on, like actual artificial intelligence, teaching actual humans the ins and outs of product management.
And it's wild, right? Like, imagine getting career advice from the same tech that powers your smart toaster.
See, now you're just making me hungry. But okay, on a serious note, this is way more than just a gimmick. It actually speaks to a fundamental shift in how we learn. AI, in theory, can personalize education in a way humans just can't. Think about it. A program that adapts to your pace, your style, feeds you exactly what you need to know when you need to know it. That's powerful.
It's like having a personal, hyper-intelligent tutor available 24/7. But before we get too carried away with the robot overlords taking over education.
Which, let's be honest, is always a slight concern lurking in the back of our minds these days.
Exactly. They did bring in a human expert, Aaron Demnath, a.k.a. the Product Geek. So it's this interesting blend of cutting-edge AI and like good old-fashioned human experience.
Which is essential, let's be real. Especially in a field like product management. It's not just about data points and algorithms, right? You got to understand people, what they want, what they need. And that's where a seasoned pro like Aaron Dom really shines, I'd imagine.
It's like the AI might tell you the statistically perfect product to launch based on like a million data points. But Aaron Dom could tell you if people will actually want to buy it, you know? And he can probably give you some killer marketing tips while he's at it.
There you go. It's that human touch. And speaking of marketing, did you catch the podcast's tagline? It's something like, tell your friends, help us go viral.
Wait, really? That's kind of meta, right? They're literally using the principles of product marketing to promote their product management podcast.
Precisely. They're living their own curriculum, which I gotta say is pretty slick. But let's get back to your original point. This whole thing, it really does make you think about the future of education, right? If AI can teach something as complex as product management today...
What can it teach tomorrow?
Exactly. And that's the real question, isn't it? What field will they revolutionize next?
Hey, everyone, and welcome to another deep dive.
Yeah.
Today, we're tackling week 4 reading material.pdf.
Okay.
And it's it looks like a gold mine for anyone interested in breaking into product management.
Yeah, it's like a
or even just like
it's a crash course in product leadership, really.
Yeah.
All the stuff you need and all the stuff that they don't really tell you that you need.
Exactly. And they waste no time getting into it.
Right.
The first thing they hit you with is product market fit.
Of course.
Foundational.
You know, on the surface, sounds simple enough, but then they...
Well, and it is, I mean, it is a simple...
They immediately hit you with this...
it's a simple concept.
Like this analogy of painkiller versus vitamin.
Right.
And I thought that was really interesting. You know, it's funny because
it's like...
It is a really good way to think about it.
It makes you kind of rethink how you view products that you love.
Like, what problem are they solving for you?
Exactly.
Is it a headache or is it...
And is it a headache?
You know, just trying to get ahead of something in the long term.
And I think that's something that is often overlooked.
Totally.
Especially when you're first starting out. You kind of get married to an idea.
Absolutely. And you think...
Without really thinking about...
Everybody needs this.
The problem that it's solving and who it's solving it for.
And that's the thing about product market fit is, you know, you can have the best team in the world. Yeah. You can have... unlimited funding, but if you don't have product market fit, it's like you're dead in the water.
Yeah, and they even have this great quote in here about how...
Oh, yeah. What is it?
Finding product market fit is more of an art than a science.
Yes. Love that.
Which I thought was kind of interesting because we often think...
Totally.
You know, data.
It's all about data, but you still
like it's this combination of the two.
Totally. And that's actually something that the document talks about is that, you know, early product managers, they rely more on data because they're still building that gut. They're still building that experience.
Yeah, it's like training wheels.
Exactly. Yeah. You need that data to back up your decisions. Yeah. Until you've been around the block enough times...
Until you build doubt.
To trust your gut.
That intuition.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say you've found product market fit. you've got your product.
Right.
How do you measure success? Like, how do you know you're actually
there yet.
hit the mark?
Right.
And so
Good question.
the document dives into a few different things.
Okay.
Talking about growth rate,
Right.
churn rate,
Sure.
net promoter score,
Yeah.
market share,
All the things.
all the good stuff, all the buzzwords.
Right.
But I thought it was interesting how they emphasized that it's not
Not a one-size-fits-all.
always just about the numbers.
Yeah.
It's about understanding the why behind the number
100%.
and how that aligns with your overall product strategy.
And also understanding that, like,
Right.
what success looks like is going to be different for every product.
Of course.
And every stage of the product life cycle.
Absolutely.
So like a startup that's just starting out, their definition of success is going to be very different
Totally.
than like a big established company.
Okay, so
Okay.
we've found product market fit. We're tracking our success.
We're killing it.
What's next?
Right. Let's build it.
Let's talk wireframing,
Yes.
which is something that I think a lot of people have heard of,
Okay.
but maybe don't fully grasp
Yeah. What is
like what it actually entails.
Tell me more.
So
Get down.
the document kind of describes it as
Right.
this visual representation of your product.
Yeah.
It's like sketching out your ideas.
I like to think of it as like the blueprint
Yeah.
for your app or your website.
At
It's like
least
before you even start laying down the code.
And it can be as simple as like pen and paper,
Oh, absolutely.
or you can use
napkin sketches.
digital tools.
White.
There are so many options out there.
Yeah.
But I think the key takeaway is
Like
that
there's-
wireframing is all about getting your ideas out of your head
Yeah.
and into a tangible form
Tangible. That's the key word because
so that you can start to iterate on them.
it's so much easier to rearrange things and move things around
Exactly.
when you have a visual representation.
And it's so much cheaper to make changes
Way cheaper.
at the wireframing stage
Yeah.
than it is to like
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me?
rewrite code later down the line.
So much cheaper and faster.
Yeah.
Like you can go through like 10 different iterations of a wireframe
It's all about like
in the same amount of time it would take you to code
one version of the app.
and making sure that you're on the right track
And the other thing about wireframing is
before you invest.
it really helps you
Yeah.
stay focused on the user.
Okay, so speaking of wireframing,
Okay.
the document kind of breaks it down into these different levels of fidelity.
Okay. Like what do we got?
There's low fidelity,
Uh-huh.
mid-fidelity, and high fidelity.
Okay.
And I think this can be a little confusing for
Right.
people who are new to this world.
Yeah. It's like, what does it all mean?
So basically, low fidelity is like your
back at the
y-
cop.
your sketches, your
Exactly. Your basic layouts.
very
So
basic.
it's not pretty.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be pretty.
It's not about the visuals.
It's just about getting the ideas down.
It's about the functionality.
And then as you move into mid-fidelity,
Okay.
things start to get a little bit more refined.
Oh, we're polished.
You might start to add some more visual elements.
Okay,
Like
yeah.
colors and typography.
So it starts to look a little bit more like
yeah.
the actual product.
And then high fidelity is like
And it's
close as you can get
That is it.
to the real deal
Yeah.
without actually coding it.
This is what we're building.
And so I think it's important to kind of understand
Yeah.
those different levels
Absolutely.
because they each serve a purpose
Yeah. And you're not necessarily gonna
at different stages
Yeah.
of the design process.
Right.
for
You gotta
figures.
pick the right tool for the job.
Okay, so we've got our wireframes. We're feeling good.
Right.
But how do we actually make this thing talk to other things?
Okay.
How do we connect it to the outside world?
API.
Enter APIs,
Here we go.
which I think is one of those topics that can feel
It's a little magical.
really intimidating,
It can be.
but the document does a really good job
Okay.
of breaking it down
I'm glad because I need it broken down sometimes.
into understandable terms.
I was gonna say.
So
Follow
essentially,
me high.
an API is like a messenger
Okay.
that allows different software applications to talk to each other.
Okay.
So think about like when you're on a website
Yeah.
and you see that button that says log in with Google,
Yes.
that's an API in action.
Okay.
Instead of creating a whole new account,
Right.
the website is using an API to say, hey, Google
Right.
is this person who they say they are.
Check their credentials.
And Google's like, yep,
Yep.
all good. Or nope,
Sorry.
not so much.
Wrong password.
And that's how you're able to log in without having to
I love that.
create a whole new profile and remember a whole new password.
It's so seamless.
It's like magic,
It is.
but it's actually just really clever code
Yeah.
working behind the scenes.
And the cool thing about APIs is that they're not just for like, big companies like Google and Facebook.
Right.
Anyone can create an API.
And they can even make money from them.
Oh, yeah. You can totally monetize your API.
which I thought was really interesting
Yeah, like you create something valuable,
because it's like,
and then other developers are like, I want to use that.
yeah,
I'll pay you for it.
it's like this whole other
It's a whole
revenue stream
Exactly.
that I think
API economy, baby.
a lot of people
That's what they call it.
don't even realize exists.
I know, it's huge.
So APIs,
It's a big deal.
definitely worth understanding.
For sure.
Even if you're not
And the good news is
a developer.
you don't have to be a developer to understand them.
Right.
Like we just talked about them.
You just need to understand
And I think we both understand them a little bit better now.
the basics.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about a skill
Yeah.
that can really set you apart.
Let's go as a product manager.
Okay.
And that is SQL.
SQL.
And I know what you're thinking.
Oh, no.
Another acronym.
Another one.
But don't worry, a technical person.
We're going to break this one down, too.
Okay, good.
So SQL stands for Structured Query Language.
All right.
And it's basically a programming language
Okay.
that allows you to interact with databases.
So like talking to data.
Exactly.
Like having a conversation.
It's like having a conversation with data.
I like it.
And I know
Like data's my friend.
some of you might be thinking,
Sometimes.
wait a minute. I
Right.
thought I was signing up for product management,
Not data.
not data analysis.
Yeah.
And you're not wrong.
I'm not a data scientist.
But having even a basic understanding of SQL can be incredibly valuable.
How so?
Because as a product manager,
Yeah.
you're going to be swimming in data.
Data everywhere.
You're going to be looking at data
Right.
to make decisions about your product,
Informed decision.
to understand your
You need
users,
data-driven decisions.
and to track your progress.
all the decisions.
And if you can't speak the language of data,
Right.
then you're going to be at a disadvantage.
It's like trying to order food in a foreign country and you don't speak the language.
You're going to be relying on other people
Right.
to translate for you.
And who wants to do that?
And that can slow you down.
And they might get it wrong.
It can lead to misunderstanding,
Exactly.
and it can ultimately hurt your product.
C12 is like my Rosetta Stone for the world of data.
A little bit of SQL knowledge.
I love it.
It's like having a secret weapon in your back pocket.
I'm ready.
No, the document does acknowledge
Yeah.
that there is some debate
Oh boy, here we go.
about whether or not
Controversy.
SQL is absolutely essential
Okay.
for every single product manager.
So it's like a nice to have versus a need to have.
Some people argue that it's a nice to have.
Okay.
Others argue that it's a need to have.
I can see both sides.
And I think the truth is
It depends.
it probably lies somewhere in the middle.
There you go.
It depends on
On the
the specific role,
on the product,
on your team,
on your industry,
on your background.
all of those factors. So many factors.
But I think the key takeaway here is that
Right.
even if you're not a SQL expert,
Right.
having a basic understanding
It can only have
of how to work with data
Right.
is going to make you
A more well-rounded PM.
a stronger product manager.
100%.
And it's definitely something that
And it shows that you're
you're
curious and you're willing to learn.
on your resume and in your interviews.
Absolutely.
So don't be afraid to dive in
Dive into that data.
and start learning SQL.
All right. So we've talked about data.
And you know what?
We've talked about product market fit.
While you're at it,
All right. What else is there?
why stop there?
What other skills do we need?
Let's talk about another essential skill
Let's do it.
for product managers.
Okay.
Negotiation.
Ooh. Negotiation.
I know what you're thinking again.
Here we go. Another curveball.
Negotiation.
I'm not cut out for this.
That's for salespeople.
I don't like confrontation.
That's for lawyers.
Yeah, this is not my jam.
But trust me on this one.
Okay. Oh, I'm listening.
Negotiation is a critical skill
Why?
for product managers
Tell me more.
because you are constantly
Oh.
negotiating.
With who?
You're negotiating with your team.
Okay.
You're negotiating with stakeholders.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
negotiating with users.
Yeah.
You're negotiating
Our users are tough.
with deadlines, with budgets, with features.
They're the hardest.
You name it.
So true.
You're negotiating it.
It's like a constant dance.
And so the
Yeah.
document kind of breaks down negotiation
Oh. Give me the steps.
into these different stages.
Right.
And it talks about the importance of building rapport,
Sure.
understanding your counterpart's perspective,
Empathy.
being able to clearly articulate
Yeah.
your own needs and interests,
Communication is key.
and ultimately
Right.
finding a solution that works
Win-win.
for everyone involved.
Zach, we're all on the same team here.
And so even if you don't think of yourself
Right.
as a natural negotiator,
Yeah.
trust me,
Take it till you make it.
this is a skill that you can learn
100%.
and that you need to learn
Practice makes perfect.
if you want to be successful
Right.
as a product manager.
And you know what?
And so,
It's not just about, like,
yeah,
getting your way all the time.
Right.
It's about
finding that common ground
finding that win-win.
and building those relationships.
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day,
Building those relationships.
you're going to be working with these people for a long time.
Okay. So we've talked
And
about
burn bridges.
product market fit.
Right.
We've talked about wireframing. We've talked about APIs.
APIs.
We've talked about SQL. We've
yeah.
talked about negotiation.
Are you exhausted yet?
I'm ready for a nap.
Because we're just getting started.
Oh, no.
This document is packed with information.
There's more.
And so,
Bring it on.
in our next deep dive,
Right.
we're going to be diving into
I'm ready.
even more essential skills and tools
Let's do it.
for aspiring product managers.
Can't wait.
So stay tuned.
All right. See you then.